Tonight we'll be talking about the CZ P10F, the best striker gun to buy if you're a nonconformist hipster. You ready? Stand by. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Bad humor aside, the CZ P10F is an excellent gun. Now, this is a video that I'm going to have a difficult time making because I'm going to say nice things about the P10F and the Glock guys are going to hate on me. And then I'm going to say not nice things about the P10F and all the CZ guys are going to hate on me. So I'm going to try a different format. I'm going to say some nice things and then some not nice things about the gun, and I'll be able to tell how far you watch based on when you rage quit in the comments. And guys, the number one rule of the internet, especially as it relates to the gun space, if you've ever called anyone a fanboy because they said not nice things about your favorite brand, that means you're a fanboy. So this pistol is not my pistol. It is on loan to me from Big Johnson Guns and Gear. He's got a YouTube channel centered around firearms stuff, so check him out if you haven't already. So I hope you've warmed up your fingers and you're ready to rage quit in the comments, and let's talk about the P10F. Now the P10F is honestly the pistol that I wanted to shoot carry optics with ever since it was first rumored to be announced. Now the problem was that CZ took its sweet time coming to market with its optics almost ready format. The CZ P10C was first announced at the end of 2016 to be released at roughly the end of the first quarter of 2017, and it got rave reviews. Now the first pistols weren't without their growing pains. There were some issues with the mag release and the slide release that were later resolved. But all in all, the pistol is excellent. In my own shooting of the P10C, it's near telepathic with me. I can do anything I need to do with the P10C. So why not keep the momentum going and release the P10F? That's a great question. P10F was not released until the first quarter of 2019. Now, as I hinted at earlier in the video, the optics system on the P10F isn't really ready for prime time. And we'll touch on the optics ready system and takedown and all that great stuff in the second video where we do all the scary things that the YouTube censors don't want to put ads on. Now this pistol is intended for home defense, duty carry, service, all that great stuff, although I don't know of any law enforcement agencies that are currently using the P10F, not to say that they never will. But it's got about a 4.5-inch barrel. It comes with a night sight on the front sight with a blacked out rear, a great slide finish, 19+1 capacity through the excellent magazines that are included, of which you get 2. And while this is intended as a duty pistol, you certainly could use this in USPSA, IDPA, or any of the other gun games. So that said, let's start wrestling jimmies. So we're going to start with the grip, and I'll start with the good. Now the grip is pretty ergonomic, feels great in hand. If you were in the gun store, you were just going to pick this up and hold it, you're going to be like, wow, this feels really good in hand. The texture on the gun is really aggressive on the front strap and the back strap of the pistol. You can really feel it bite into you. And if you get your hands wet and pick the pistol up, you'll have no problems with your strong hand grip as it results that. And additionally, the sculpt of the grip tang is fantastic. You get an amazing high grip that allows you to return the gun from recoil like a champion. This gun actually returns to zero for me better than my Glock pistols that I compete with. It is very, very easy to shoot rapidly. And as a result of a well-formulated grip, the access to the controls are great. They're exactly where you'd want them to be. The magazine release has a decent size and is easy to actuate without breaking your grip too much. The slide release is fully ambidextrous and can be released from either side. And the takedown levers are not obnoxious. They kind of sit in on the frame and they're exactly where they need to be. And now for the bad. The side panels are very, very slick. This is not enough. If you get your hands wet and try to build a grip on the gun, you're not going to find any home on this pistol. And this leads me to my biggest beef with this pistol, which is the backstrap system. Now, if you see, the backstrap actually moves from here down to the gun, and there is a very prominent hump. The problem is that when you include the large backstrap, because say you want more real estate to build a support grip, the large backstrap extends this hump further out without increasing the length of pull at the grip tang. So you end up with more of like a Glock grip angle, and it's just not as comfortable or easy to shoot. With the large grip installed, I found myself having a harder time getting full contact along the grip tang, so I ended up going left and low with a lot of shots, and I couldn't get my nice high thumb grip that I can do with the medium backstrap. So I feel like this was a big miss. If you've got large hands, I would honestly say that definitely look at this pistol. It's a fantastic pistol, but the large backstrap makes the grip feel just weird to me. And this whole time I've been using it with the medium installed, which it works okay. It's just that I don't have enough space to get my support hand on the gun like I'd like to. And sort of a neutral about this, if you have small hands and put the small backstrap on, you get great access to the gun. It's gonna fit your hand pretty good. If you're still with me, that's gonna take us up to the trigger. And I'm gonna start with the bad on this one. Now, this trigger, like pretty much most of the American striker pistol market, has a trigger with sort of a rounded front face. And so the face of the trigger sort of has a rounded profile, which makes a very narrow area to pull straight to the rear. And it makes it very easy to pull the muzzle offline as you're pulling the trigger as a result of it. The trigger shape is not my favorite. I certainly would change it out for something like the HBI that I hear floating around, which has more of a flat face. Now, as far as the good on the trigger is concerned, it has a very good trigger. Now, this gun is very well broken in, and I'm getting about 3.5 to 3 3/4 pound breaks on this pistol, which is a very comfortable weight, although some people may say that it's probably light. As far as the actual character of the trigger is concerned, you have some very light take up that takes you to a very hard wall, and then you just keep pressing on it, and then it just kind of breaks. It's somewhat sudden. It's very sharp. It's not very creepy like a lot of striker guns. It's a pretty good trigger if you like to stage your trigger, or almost like a two-stage type trigger. So the trigger is actually pretty good other than the shape of the trigger. And the other piece of the accuracy formula is going to come from the sights. Now, the sights that actually come on the P10F are better than most of its peers in the market. You're going to get a high visibility night sight on the front with a blacked out serrated target rear. But onto the bad, this is not a fiber sight. This is not truly a high vis sight. And when you first come up on target, you'll see this nice orange front sight. But when you start shooting fast, that orange, you're gonna stop noticing it. You're just gonna notice the outline of the rear sight and the front sight. And it's gonna behave almost like target sights, but just not quite as sharply machined as proper target sights. And the second thing about the sights is night sights are kind of 2000 and late, to use a Black Eyed Peas reference. A lot of people are getting away from night sights because they just don't have a lot of utility. What you end up getting with night sights is a little glowing dot that doesn't make a lot of sense to use. I mean, in low light scenarios, you probably want a white light, which is going to wash out your sights anyway. So really all the night sights are really good for is finding your pistol in the dark. But it sounds good in marketing material and makes people buy pistols, so I understand why CZ put it there. And to be totally fair, this is the best set of sights on any of these service 9s in the market right now. I'm just being picky and nitpicking because I'd still replace these. I would put Dawson precision sights on this in a heartbeat, same as I would with any gun, because target sights are better. And finally, this is an optics ready pistol, and it does not come with suppressor height sights, which would be nice to have co-witness sights already installed at the factory. It'd be a nice little thing to pay for an upcharge, but as it is, these things are pretty rare to find, so if they had another SKU, I understand it would make it more difficult to find them as well. And that takes us to the magazines. The magazines are very well made, very typical of CZ. Some nice features about these magazines, the good, as you could say, would be that the follower is orange, which is a nice feature to see on the witness marks, which give you witness marks all the way from the 2nd round all the way to the 19th round, which is very, very welcome. Most magazines start the witness marks on like the 4th or 5th round. So you kind of have to like look down in the magazine to see how many bullets are in there if there are less than 5 rounds in them. So that's very welcome. These are very well-made magazines. As far as the bad is concerned, it's not really bad, but with 19 rounds in it, I figured that maybe they used some magic or other creativity to kind of squeeze in 2 extra rounds. But the truth is they just made these things longer. Now, if you see in the B-roll there, the magazine is just straight longer than a 17 round Glock mag. and the grip of the gun is actually longer than a Glock 17. So the trick to getting more rounds into the gun is just to make the magazines and grips longer, but people with big hands will find that the increased length of the grip is probably welcome. As far as other things, the slide machining is very clean both on the outside and inside. The cocking serrations at both the fore and the aft are very, very aggressive and really bite into you. They're very well done. The barrel on the gun is a cold hammer forged barrel like CZ offers in all of their guns, and by all accounts it should be very accurate. But back to my issue with kind of that trigger space, I had an issue with getting precision shots as a result of it with this. I just didn't spend enough time with it to really learn the trigger. But that's definitely a shooter error and is not the fault of the gun. I have no doubt if this was bench rested and I really took time pulling the trigger straight to the rear, it would shoot very great groups, as good or better than anything in the market. The magwell is kind of flared a little bit. It doesn't get a whole lot wider, but the edge is beveled, so it does make it a little bit easier to seat the magazines. It's akin to something like a Glock Gen 4 magwell is really kind of what it strikes me as. And unlike CZ's other guns, this is actually slide on frame, just like the rest of the striker market. It is not slide in frame like their guns are, which gives you more real estate on the slide to grab. And it is rumored that this gun does fit in Glock holsters. Now, I tried a few holsters. I have 3 different Harry's holsters, and it fit in 2 out of 3. The fit was good in one, which is my old Harry's holster Glock 17 holster. This is his 2nd generation holster, and it fits in there very good. Not quite as good as if it were made for this particular pistol, but I wouldn't be bothered carrying it within this setup. Now, my current later generation Harry's holsters that I'm currently wearing, it doesn't really fit in. It's sort of loose. I could use it as a gun bucket, but it's not something I'd feel comfortable necessarily carrying. And my Harry's competition holster, I couldn't even get the darn thing into it for the most part. So it just didn't fit in that one. So 1.5, we'll call it, out of 3 isn't that bad, but at this point, everybody's making holsters for the P10F. I wouldn't worry about finding one. And if you need a concealment holster, I've got a code for the Harry's in the description of the video, so check that out. Now, as far as shooting this gun on a bright, sunny day, as I mentioned, the sights kind of wash out. I'm able to get good sight pictures, and I could hold decent groups with it out to about 10 to 15 yards, but when I started to back it up to 50 yards is when I started having issues hitting with the iron sights. And I think that was more me and the combination of not being familiar with the trigger than necessarily the pistol itself. But when I started just playing around with it and shooting in anger on 7 and 10 yard arrays, that's when I really started to see the strength of this gun. It comes back on target like a beast. It is super easy to shoot accurately. As you can see here, these are 2 shots that are almost touching from shooting a Blake drill, which is 3 open targets shot as fast as you can, 2 shots each. And I was able to get not 1, but 2 targets to have the bullet holes nearly touching after a couple hundred rounds with the thing. So it got my attention. This is a well-made pistol, and despite my issue with the grip, I clearly was able to figure something out because I was able to do some pretty good work with this thing. So if you're still with me, I appreciate it. I'm surprised you haven't rage quit yet. In the second video, we'll take a look at the optics system, how the gun breaks down, and my overall thoughts on the pistol. But I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, guys.